Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the question and answer period here with Wrong End of the Snake. Adam and Lorenzo have graciously come back to us here for a little period of time. We didn't get to a lot of the viewer questions that were asked while we were having our original 1 hour event. And so we thought maybe we would get to some of those. So kind of right off the bat here, guys, there were a couple of people that asked about like what was the one thing with Linkin Park that like sticks out in your mind? Like what was the one event that you had with them that you remember the most fondly about?
Yeah, I'd say for me, going to South Africa was the most incredible experience of my life. I mean, when we went to the school and we're planting trees that day, we went on a safari on that off day. That photo right there is from the school. That was that day that I will never forget as long as I live. And just the once in a lifetime getting to spend, I don't know how long we were there. I have no idea how long we were, 5, 7, 10 days, whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Man, the flight was awful, but that was, it sucked getting there. Yeah, it sucked getting there, but once you're there, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, We did the summit there, and those shows were just some of the best shows I ever saw in Linkin Park. Those fans have been wanting them to become for so long. So, man, South Africa, how do you beat that? Like, dang.
Man, I got to tell you, it was definitely like I would say, top 2 things that have happened to me in my 30-year career was, especially that day that we went to that orphanage and helped to plant trees and, met a bunch of really amazing kids. But yeah, Tater and I always joke about like some of the coolest places are the ones that are like 28 hours of flying away. And that
work to get there.
Cape Town is definitely one of those places. It's like, I love when I get there, but the travel to there sucks. Yeah. How about you, Lorenzo? What do you got? Is there any moment in Linkin Park period that you remember super fondly about?
Yeah, for sure. First, I want to say, man, I wish I was with you guys during that Auckland, South Africa trip. Just the videos, the pictures. I mean, every year when I see, for example, Chef Gray may post about it, and I'm like, man, like just feel that bond from that specific trip is like, you can't explain it. You have to be there to really tell the tale. Yeah. And, but anyway, yeah, I think the travel component of, I want to say like the privilege of getting to travel with the band and seeing some of these cities and countries. I would say for me, definitely going to China. I mean, I never in my life thought I would ever go to China. And like, I was blown away, not just because of like, being in China, but the fact that all the work it took from everybody involved to pull that tour off, what an amazing achievement. I learned so much from that trip before, during, and after. So a fun memory for sure.
And yeah, I'll tell you what about China. We stay in some great hotels over there, and those buffet breakfasts are fantastic, aren't they?
Oh man, yes, for sure. Yeah, the buffet breakfast was on point.
They know how to do it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like I think one of the coolest things that Linkin Park has got to do is play in China in some cities that a lot of other bands don't play in. I know in the 2 times we've been there, we got to do some cities that I didn't even know we were going to be able to do a rock show at. So that was exciting going over there for sure. Tater, you got any questions for these guys?
Well, going more on China, we were playing, obviously playing stadiums, big crowds, really, wanting to see them live and playing in front of a live audience there of that size. It was, those were definitely, it's tough to play China, the places you haven't played all the time. It's just got its own challenges, but those are definitely some great shows for sure. Memorable times.
Memorable times for sure. Yeah. As I'm looking down the list of questions that guys were asking in the Q&A part, Ivan from Russia says, when you first went on tour with LP, what did you expect about it and how did it compare with the reality of touring life? So what did you think it was going to be, and what did it end up being?
Man, I had been working with them for a while at that point, so I kind of had a clue of what going on tour with them would probably be like. I mean, the thing I did not expect is everything's just taken care of for you. Like, dude, you guys live like, I will never forget the like, yo, man, here's your ticket. You're flying to Portugal. And I'm like, well, what happens when I get to Portugal? Like, don't worry about it. It'll all be handled. I'm like, what do you mean don't worry? And you send your passport off to someone to get your Russian visa in. And I'm like, wait, I just send them and then, yeah, it's done for you. I'm like, okay, cool. And
Amazing.
then you show up and hey, wake up, and then the thing will take you to the show. Great. And then, oh, there's catering. And it was tough to come off of that because like, it's all just, here's the day for you. And don't get me wrong, it's exhausting. And I was telling someone this not that long ago, like, I wasn't even like setting up equipment. I have no idea what I did all day. I just remember being exhausted every single day because keep in mind too, when I was out, we were rolling out living things. And so like I was answering emails from the night before in Europe, getting this album out, you know, and then I'd have to deal with the meet and greet and the photos and the social media, or if we had an event that day. But it was just a well-oiled machine, man. Like that was the thing I was just shocked about, that like, you know, you don't have to worry about your flights. That's all going to be taken care of. Like, I don't know. That was crazy.
It's
Flights, hotels, getting there, getting back.
Man.
Oh, the
hotels.
Funny. Yeah. It's so funny. Like when I do, you know, when I travel with my family for vacation or whatever, I fall into that. Well, now I have to be the one that, you know, schedules a car. And, you know,
your hotel standards go down when you're paying for it, don't they?
Dude. I think about that Hyatt in Berlin or whatever. Like,
one of my favorite hotels.
Do you know
hotel.
that Hyatt in Berlin is the reason that I have heated floors in my bathroom? Swear to God, when I built a house 5 years ago, I was like, you know, I want to have heated floors in my bathroom, just like that Hyatt in Berlin. And, you know, so here in Texas, like people don't think about having heated floors, and you know, and so the guy looked at me crazy and everything. He was like, what? And I'm like, yeah, do some research. I want to have heated floors in my, and it's probably the best thing that I ever did in my house for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of China, you know, another great hotel. I remember we went there to do a promo with Chester and Joe only. And good old Jimmy Chan, you know, we were staying at a great hotel and talking about getting rides back and forth to the gig in a Maybach and all that stuff. And you know,
wow.
Sometimes it's pretty good.
Sometimes it's nice to live like a rock star.
Yeah,
for sure. How about you, Lorenzo? Same question.
I think I was sort of like in such a surreal state when I found out I was going to get to go on tour with the band. Even my first time around, I think we talked about that earlier, it was only supposed to be a short trip to take care of some events in Tokyo and then the Hong Kong summit. But I was just like, all right, pack my bags, let's go. And I mean, the whole thing in Asia was just mind blowing. I could not have expectations actually. But when I toured in the US, 2014 Carnivores tour, I think we were in West Palm doing like pre-show production or something for like a couple of days. And then the buses arrived and we had our first show. And I get on the bus, it's probably like, I don't know, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., you know, whenever we finally get to go on the bus. And I'm like, there was pizza and Corona beer.
Oh, you're right. The post-show.
And I was during that tour, I was put on with I think it was called like promotions and partnerships. So we had like our promotions team as well as the IAVA, the veterans group. And then we had Justin, who was doing VIP with me, and the photography. You know, there's a great group of people, but most of us first time touring besides Justin, who's also been touring a long time. So I'm like, is this pizza and beer? Is that like for us? And they're like, yeah, buddy. That's what they were like, yeah, buddy. It's called like after show food. And I was like, what?
Well,
Like
what,
my eyes.
what about, and man, again, being on the backline bus for my first tour, the fact that you go on the bus and there's a giant blank piece of paper and you can write down whatever you want on that. And after the show, you come back and there it is. And the backline guys used to just make a game out of like, let's see what crazy stuff we can get, like local vodka from what, and that was
crazy.
always like mind blowing. Like it would just show up and it was fantastic.
For those of you out there that don't,
Just shows up. Put it
yeah,
on
it
or
just shows
anything.
up. For those of you out there that don't know, that's the deal is like, after we work, our days are really long. So our days are 12, 14, sometimes 16-hour days. So, they get us food that they put on the buses after, we're done working, and usually it's pizza. And then they also have a bus list, which is, just pretty much like what Adam was saying. You can, within reason, you can say,
Sure.
oh, I would like to have, some Corona beer afterwards, or I'd like to have, a bologna for a bologna sandwich. And they have a certain amount of budget every day that they go spend and bring that for us. But it is amazing that you can just, order that stuff and it shows up.
And I was on with backline, and
amazing.
Security was on that bus too. So that is the bus to be on for that list, because we always had good food, good drinks.
That's funny because that's totally true. Like us sound guys were like, I'm gonna go see what they have on the backline bus. They always have good shit over there.
Yeah, I always heard that line. And I have this fond memory of, I think I was on the audio bus on the European tour, if you guys remember.
Yeah.
So I got to experience a few different buses, but the audio bus was awesome. And I remember we got like a container, a plastic tub of like gummies. And I don't know if it was one of you guys, but I remember going over to the table on the bus, and somebody was eating the gummies, and they were like, "Hey, why is there licorice? We said no licorice." And like people were so annoyed, and then it just started echoing like, "We got licorice. We said explicitly no licorice."
You roadies do get rock star-ish. I've seen it.
Yes.
I loved
After
it.
a while.
I was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
And I said, "I'll eat the licorice. I don't care." It was such a fun moment. Like I was laughing so hard.
Well, you hang out with
good
rock
stuff.
stars long enough, and then pretty soon you turn yourself into a rock star when it comes to that stuff.
Oh man.
And you're pampered, so.
Yeah, it's tough going home sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Cool. Let's see. Just looking down here. Couple more questions. Tater, you got anything?
No.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I don't know if we covered in the show, but I think we did. Did we cover where you guys want to go from here? Like internships, jobs with the band, record company. What's next?
I don't know. I just want to do stuff that makes me happy. That's like my main and only concern is like, I just want to be happy. And if it's someday it's not this, then I'll find the next thing that does make me happy. I'm fortunate right now that I have a job and I've got a paycheck. I totally get how grateful I am for that, but I also know that like money's not everything, and money doesn't make you happy. You need it to survive, but it doesn't make you happy. So that's my vague answer.
I always think it's a funny phrase. I think that's a funny phrase, like money doesn't make you happy. It's like, yeah, money doesn't make you happy, but you still need it to survive, right?
100%. Don't
Yes.
get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, when you're talking to somebody and they say money doesn't make you happy, that's because they have money. But
Yeah.
but anyway.
We've seen a few more months how true all that is.
Yeah, right.
How long this whole thing's going to go.
So Lorenzo, I think along the same lines, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, first I wanted to add to Adam. Adam, I see that Cubs hat behind you. I don't put it past you to one day end up in sports. You never know. You never know. You may end up in sports somehow. But for me, like I think a lot of people this year who are fortunate to be working and stuff, it's the perfect time to just reflect on like being grateful for what you have. But in terms of like career-wise thinking what's next, it's hard to say right now. I'm still sort of in this new chapter because it's only been 2 years that I've moved to Berlin and started this new adventure. So for now, I'm still figuring some stuff out and learning new things every day. So I'm just kind of stuck in the moment right now. I'm very much in the present. But I think when big life changes happen, like the one that happened to me 2 years ago, I didn't see it coming. I wasn't necessarily like thinking about it. But I definitely love digital marketing and digital things. So I'm sure whatever it is, it will be something on those lines. Or I don't know if you guys knew this, but like cooking is also another passion of mine. So perhaps something along those lines, even later further down, you know, like opening a pizza place or something.
Oh, good for you, man. That's awesome.
You never know.
I wish I had something other than being a sound guy, especially right now, especially right this instant. I wish I did something other than sound.
I have a question for you guys. I'm going to turn the tables right now.
All right.
Like, I think about this, like, actually one thing you don't know about me is when I decided to work in music, like I originally thought I was going to be an engineer. Like I thought that's what I was going to go to school and do.
Oh, wow.
And I often think like, dude, like, have you ever been like, what am I doing? Like, but I feel stuck in this job. This is all I know. Or is that thought just never crossed your mind? Like that, I think would be a little scary to me because like, what do you do? Like that's.
It's funny you mention that because I think everybody we've had on so far, we've always said like, you've gone from point A to point B to point C, and now you're branching out to that. And me and Pooch really haven't done that yet. Maybe that's why we asked the question. So that's a good question. Let me think.
Yeah, I mean, I would say honestly, I think about that almost every day. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, and it's true. I say it a lot. You know, this is the only thing I know how to do well. Like I can do other things. You know, like you know. I wouldn't consider myself a handyman by any means, you know, but I can fix stuff. Like if the toilet's broken, I can fix it. But those are all the things, right? Like I'm mediocre at everything else, and I'm good at this. I know I'm good at this, and so I haven't even explored being good at something else.
Interesting.
So
never had to think about it till now. So yeah
sure.
So not now, but this last 6 months.
Yeah.
And I've definitely thought about it a lot the last 6 months. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what else, it's like everybody else. It was a hobby that turned into a job. So,
Yeah.
I don't know what else I really want to go do.
Yeah.
But
you've been doing it for a long time at about the highest level you can. So
yeah.
Yes.
Dang. Like,
well, that's kind of the other part of it. You know, we joke all the time that we feel like we're strippers, old strippers, right? Like you're on the pole going, you know, yeah, I'm dancing for you. Okay. Yeah. But the money's good and you still love what you do. So, I mean, really, I have maybe, if I'm really stretch it, another 10 years of touring around the world in this business. So do I really want to like totally take a right turn and do something else, for the next 10 years? Not really, because I still love what I do,
Sure.
I do too, but I would love to make a left-hand turn and do something totally different. But I just, at my age, I don't even know what that is anymore. So, but I'm not opposed to it, but I just can't find it.
Podcasting?
Yeah, podcasting.
There we are, happening now.
Someday, you guys have to do a thing on you guys. I want to sit here and ask you guys questions for 4 hours. So keep me in mind if you decide
we
to
can
do
get
that.
another person with a podcast, and we can do that. Like we interview them, and then they do us.
Lorenzo and I are going to start a one-off podcast just to talk to Pooch and Tater.
Yes, we can call it like the audio bus. Audio bus underground.
Yeah, well, you guys are way more interesting than we are, for sure.
I don't think that's even a little bit true.
Oh man. Well, hey, listen, guys, we appreciate your extra time to come here and talk and
that's a house phone.
Yeah, what?
Oh, what?
What are you talking about?
Who's calling you?
His house phone's going off.
Well, it's only telemarketers.
I don't even know what that is. Like, there's a phone that's like mounted to your wall or something.
Yeah, you can't take it anywhere. It just stays right there.
Well, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have wires?
Why do you call a house? Why don't you call a person?
It's so weird. You know, what's funny about that quick story, you know, up until probably, I'd say a couple of years ago, my parents still had a rotary phone.
Whoa. Those still work?
Yeah.
Wow.
And my father, when this was a long time ago, when beepers first started coming out, pagers, he called me. It was a pager that had, you could put in the number, or it had a voicemail. If you waited long enough, it would go to a voicemail thing. And I get this voicemail of someone using a rotary phone, go zip, tick, 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 zip, tick, 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 tick. And it was my father trying to enter a phone number using a rotary phone on my pager.
Oh,
amazing.
You always
I
wanted
love
somebody with a lot of ones in their phone number, so it was just tick, 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 you know? Every time there was a 0 or a 9, you're like, damn.
all the way around.
Yeah.
All the way around. So all the people that love LP just for the past 5 minutes have no idea what we're talking about. But anyway, thanks a lot for coming, guys. We sure do appreciate it. We love you, and we hope we see you guys in person soon.
I hope so. I hope
right.
so. Thank you guys again. This was so fun.
Much love.
All
Much
right,
love,
cool.
really. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Love you guys.